Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Good morning, Vietnam!
You are great.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious...
You're listening to the 30-something movie podcast. Classic movies, 30 years in the making.
I'm just watching this whole thing. And John's sitting there like this, and then Bo just was like...
Yeah, she's just staring at me.
And I've got you both like in camera, so it's kind of fun.
Pulling back the curtain for a moment. Welcome, everybody, to the 30-something movie podcast. I'm the only one wearing the headphones. So, is that like wearing the pants in the family? I'm the only one wearing the headphones
it just
in
means
this group.
John has voices in his head for real today.
That's right.
That's not a podcasting thing.
Yes.
So I'm sitting here rocking out to the intro music because I'm the only one that can hear it, and then I start getting these weird looks, which I'm used to, so it's not a problem. But yeah, so we're here.
Here we are.
We're here together again. Together again. Yeah. We're not doing that movie though.
No.
We've already done Muppets Take Manhattan. That was years ago. We are here to do. We're here for some pizza. Here for a little Mystic Pizza.
I like pizza.
Mystic Pizza. I do like pizza. Maybe that'll be a question later. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Yes.
Start thinking now. It may take the entire episode for you to figure out what your favorite kind of pizza
Can the answer be yes?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is it easier to say what we don't like with pizza? Because really,
It might be.
Let's all just be honest.
Pineapple.
anchovies.
Okay.
Really?
I don't
Not
think
a fan.
I've ever had anchovies.
No anchovies?
No.
Do you like anchovies on anything else?
No.
No pineapple on the pizza?
No.
I resisted a long time. Then I tried it and I'm like,
It has its place.
Yeah, I've had it before. No.
I've had
Definitely has its place.
It has its place and it's not in your belly.
It's not on a pizza.
No, I like it.
You like the pineapple. You don't like
But
the anchovies.
Right. The pineapple has its place on pizza, but you can't just throw it on any pizza. You got to plan it a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
got to be. It's got to be.
The Dark Horse surprise. Didn't think it would be any good. Broccoli and bacon.
Huh.
Fantastic.
I understand the bacon. I like broccoli. I don't think I've ever had it on pizza.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Okay. We used to have this place in Champaign when I was in college, and it was called Antonio's Pizza. And they would do pizza by the slice, but it was all these like crazy pizza concoctions that they would come up with. It was like a mac and cheese pizza or a, no, I don't even know what.
Interesting.
Yeah, like crazy. I think they had like a broccoli and something pizza.
Right on.
And I don't remember what it was now, but and
wonder
they
if
would
it's still
like
there.
all kinds of. No, it's not.
Oh.
I looked. Oh, believe me.
I know.
I looked the last
When
time I
we
was
went
there.
to the Dells, there was this pizza. Did I just totally interrupt you?
No.
I'm a little off. I'm like in work mode, so I'm like
No.
distracted. Did I interrupt? Okay.
No.
Because there's this thing called the Pizza Lab that we went to, and that was like I guess I've never been to Mod Pizza, but you go down the line and mod people and put. And we found this place up in the Dells, and oh my Lanta, it was delicious.
I gotta recommend Mod Pizza for those.
That's the
pretty
pizza
good.
I constructed.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, that was.
Right on.
They put the cheese underneath. There is cheese in there somewhere, but it was like, dang.
We went to this place this one time, and I think it was the first time I've been to any of those like the crazy hot oven pizza places.
The wood fired.
It was but it was like the pizza was done in like 45 seconds.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
crap.
They've got it's kind of a thing now.
I think it was in. Were we in Indiana?
Well, there's one
I feel like
now
we were in Indiana, and there was this little place, and it was almost like a naan bread.
Okay,
kind of pizza.
sure.
It was really good. I'm getting really hungry now that we're talking.
There's
about
one
this.
in Wakanda now in Highwood called Slice, S-L-Y-C-E.
Yes.
They're wood-fired pizza now.
Yeah.
In Lincolnshire, Bonta,
Yeah.
they put the whole.
I saw that one of the last times I was over there.
Yeah, they have the wood fired pizza. Yeah, Bonta is outstanding.
So this time we're not actually going to talk movies. This time we're just going to sit around and talk pizza.
Yeah.
And that's
Lord
pretty
knows
much
we could.
all that we.
Yeah.
So the voices I may have voices in my head. If you're listening to this on headphones or maybe in your car, you've got voices in your head too. Who are those voices? I'm John.
I'm Bo.
I'm Pat. And together we are
the Three Amigos. Okay. We did that sitting down, so it wasn't quite as dramatic.
But
no,
I think
it was fine.
In some ways, it was maybe more dramatic.
Because John might have pulled a
I think I pulled something. Getting too old for this. So we are here for Mystic Pizza. We might have a couple things really quick to talk about before we get into talking the movie, but very, very fast. We spoil the movies we talk about, so if you have not seen Mystic Pizza, go watch it, and then come on back, and then feel free to listen to the show. If you'd like, please leave us a review on iTunes. We now have enough reviews on iTunes that there's an actual little number there.
No way.
They wait a little while until you've got enough. So we are a perfect rating on iTunes.
No kidding.
We've only got a little handful of reviews, but we are 5 stars.
I knew about the forum.
I think we've got 4 now.
Oh,
So-
thanks,
That's
everybody.
outstanding.
So thank you to everybody who's left a review for us.
I'm gonna go on iTunes and
We
read
have
about it.
one on. I think we have one on a foreign iTunes store too.
Oh, okay.
Like it's hard to kind of see those. You have to switch. You almost have to like log out of your American iTunes store and log into the other one to see it. And I happened across it at one point.
That definitely
I was
sounds too complicated for me.
It's way too complicated.
Well,
So
I'm lost.
I grabbed this app one time that would tell us if we had reviews anywhere, and it was like you have one from the. I don't know if it was like the Croatian app store or like I was like, oh,
Good for that.
okay,
Good for
cool.
that.
So
Right on.
Bueno.
So thank you.
amigos.
Thank you. Yeah.
He's on a roll.
Oh,
So
man.
when the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor, that one's coming up soon. 40th anniversary for
40th
that
anniversary.
one. I've been quoting that one a lot since I pulled out the Blu-ray at home. It's like, Sharon, we need to watch this again very, very soon.
Yes.
And then of course John's like, can I watch it? Nope.
No.
Nope.
Not for many years.
Nope.
Not for many years.
I do show him the cafeteria scene though, because that is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, there's snippets of that movie that are safe and fine, and then there's the rest of the movie.
Can you guess what I am right now? So if you are enjoying the show, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks.
And then finally, thank you to all those people who did leave us a review. And then finally, visit our website. If you want to learn more about the show or if you want to interact with us, we are all over the place. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different things, but you can find us in one central location, and that is 30podcast.com. 30podcast.com. You can listen to our shows there. You can find the voicemail line if you want to call in and have your voice heard on the show. And then all those other different places. Sometimes we put other announcements and things up there that we may not say on the show or we might not share other places. So that's a good place to go if you want more information or want to interact more with the show. So, let's jump into, I got a quick announcement from Twitter. We've had a whole bunch of new followers join us on Twitter. We're almost at 1,600 followers there, so that's pretty cool. But I had another podcast contact me, and I'm going to be a guest on the Movie Geek. So I married a Movie Geek podcast.
Cool.
They do a fantasy movie draft. And so what they do is they get a whole bunch of different people together, sometimes from different podcasts, and they have like this dry erase board, and I mean, you're all doing it remotely from wherever you are, and they pick a year, or they pick, I think it's actually usually a year. Yeah, I don't think it's a genre, but it's a year. And they have you go through, and just as you would in fantasy football, round one, you get your pick for round one, and then you get your pick for round two, and other people get to do their picks, and when it's all said and done, you've got 20 movies that people have picked for 1982 is the year that we're doing, and they have then they will put that up on Twitter and have people vote on who had the best picks for the year of 1982. So
That is super cool.
I'm looking forward
cool.
to it. They contacted me. They're like, okay, 1982. You got 1982? I'm like, yeah, I got 1982. And then I started to look at it, and I was like, 1982
Not much there for
might not have been as good of a
Yeah.
year for movies as I thought it was.
So it's 1982, you said.
Did you say 92? 92.
92 I got.
92
I got.
92. I might have that one, but so I started looking around on 82, and 82's got some really good movies. There
Yeah.
are some excellent movies in 82. Now, however,
Blade Runner.
this Blade Runner
E.T.
and Dark Crystal, E.T., Poltergeist, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan.
There it is.
I mean, that's
That's it.
Greatest Star Trek thing ever.
greatest submarine movie ever.
Greatest submarine
That
movie.
too.
Space. In space. Yep. I have something to ask you about Star Trek
Okay.
since you're here.
I
And that can go into our. You're here as far as I can tell.
I'm here.
So that can go into our movie news stuff real quick before we start talking about Mystic Pizza. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I will share out the link whenever that podcast comes out and let everybody know
Super cool,
where they
man.
can listen to for that. So that will be a lot of fun. And hopefully I don't screw it up.
I'm sure you will do wonderful.
I don't think you can.
John,
I
it's
don't
you.
think you can screw it up. So, it's movies.
And
You can't really mess up movies.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I am looking forward to. I did find like a whole bunch of movies at the local library that I could interlibrary loan in that I have not seen from '82.
Nice.
So the ones that I have not seen, either I saw them a really long time ago and I need to just be refreshed on them, or I really have not seen them but I've wanted to see them.
Cat People.
Yeah, Cat People. That's one I watched that one a super long time ago, probably when I shouldn't have. Yeah. It's Pat, have you ever heard of this one?
Cat People?
Yeah, Cat People.
No. Did it
Okay.
shape you as a man?
Well,
It's one way to look at it.
we're wanting to stay family friendly on the podcast here.
Right, so, you know.
I don't know how much I'm going to talk about the plot of this movie.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, just go take a look. It's it was a movie that was made, and I vaguely remember seeing it at one point.
It's looking a little dicey up there.
It's
a little sketchy.
I think it might be a little sketchy for you. I'm not sure you would like it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's looking a little weird.
You know what? The one that I feel like I should have seen up to this point, but I have not, is Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Oh, yeah.
And I have not seen that one, so I need to go see that one. So I have a whole bunch that are on their way from the local library that I can check them out and watch before the draft, so I can decide whether or not if I like those movies better than things that I absolutely know that I've seen and remember very vividly. Before we jump into Mystic Pizza, Star Trek.
Yes.
We talked one of the last shows about the Chris crisis, the Crisis, where the Chris's are not coming back for Star Trek. That whole thing of the Chris Pine and the Chris Hemsworth and the contract negotiation stuff and how Star Trek 4 might just be a no-go.
I don't think I was on the last show because I don't
Were you
want
not?
to talk
Well, is
about
that me
it.
and Jeff maybe we were talking about it? Okay. Oh, no, actually it was the one where we had Teresa from the Disney Vault podcast.
Yeah, I
we're
was
talking
so
about
mad
that.
I missed that one.
So we talked a little bit about that, and just kind of how that Star Trek may not happen now. But the thing that has resurfaced is apparently the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek they're almost making it sound like it's actually being seriously considered. And the idea is, if they do it, Quentin Tarantino really wants it to be an R-rated Star Trek.
That is
You are probably the biggest Star Trek fan in the room.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Because I know Pat and I like Star Trek.
You like Star Trek?
Yeah, but I think you have, I used to visit your bachelor pad on occasion.
Okay.
And you had an entire wall of Star Trek commemorative plates.
I did.
I don't have an entire wall of Star Trek commemorative plates.
Neither do I anymore.
So you don't anymore. But
that's what happens when you get married.
Did you put them in a storage locker, or did they just go?
I have them.
Oh, you have
them
them
in boxes.
They're in boxes. Okay, that's fine.
Hopefully they're not all cracked.
You didn't totally.
I haven't looked at them in.
Okay.
Gosh, 14 years almost, maybe now.
14 years. So 2 cycles of Pomfar is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
There's a wow.
Wow, we're playing deep cuts
We
tonight.
really are.
We're playing deep cuts tonight. That was
Dangerous deep
Sorry.
cuts too. If I'm not paying attention, I might
Just
say
don't get
something
your
I don't
Pomfar on
mean.
me.
Right.
I was thrown off by the cat people.
You know, it's
Yeah.
one of those things. Star Trek. As long as you're okay with Star Trek as a place, and that's kind of what they're trying to do with it now, for better or worse. They're trying to say that they can tell any story in the framework of this universe that was created. And I'm okay with it. Discovery definitely gave me hope.
I have not watched Discovery yet. I really would like to watch Discovery, but I also don't have the CBS app, and I'm probably not going to get it. So my understanding is Discovery has taken Star Trek a little bit closer into the more of an R-rated, like what you can do for TV, an R-rated range.
It's definitely darker.
It's skirting the edge of a Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
And a lot of what Discovery we're going to know a lot more about Discovery now, because we're coming up to things we already know.
Mm-hmm.
When they started Discovery, one of the things they told us was, this is the Prime Universe. Now, I think they made a huge mistake there. I I think is if you throw out if you
Prime Universe, for those who don't know the timelines, is the original. Correct. It's because the new one from the new Star Trek movie that was 2009. They refer to that as the Kelvin universe or Kelvin time, where time has changed.
Correct.
So Prime is the Star Trek we've all known and loved for years and years and years.
And theoretically, Discovery is supposed to be set in that timeline.
Okay.
I think they did themselves a huge disservice by trying to shoehorn it into that. I think with the movies they proved they can split the timeline and then do whatever the heck they want. I think they would have a lot more fun. And I think that's what's about to happen more. They're not the upcoming the Patrick Stewart project, whatever you want to call that. The Quentin Tarantino project, all the other things.
All Good Things Part 3.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, how cool would it be if the Quentin Tarantino project and the Patrick Stewart project were the same project?
Make it so, mother.
Right. I'll show you my bad mother. I mean, you know, I think the universe can do a lot of things. My concern has always been that they're going to Disneyfy it, for lack of a better term, and force it. And we're going to have something every year and all the time, and eventually you're going to run out of stories to tell. Yeah. One of the things that makes all these universes so powerful and amazing is you don't have one every 5 minutes. What Disney's done to Star Wars...
Unless you're Marvel.
Well, and even there, what Disney's done to Star Wars has me very concerned. There's just too much. And I love so far what's been coming out, but at some point you're going to run out of stories to tell, or you're going to start picking characters that are so small that they're not going to be able to carry a whole movie, and it's just not going to work. And I don't want that to happen to Star Trek. And all these different projects being talked about, there's a lot of things I don't like about it. One is, there's no focus. And... you know, there's only so much development money out there. So if all the money that people would want to put into a Star Trek project has to go 4 different ways, what are we going to get at the end? So if 1 or 2 projects has to die for the other cooler stuff to come back, I'm all right. The Chris Pine cast group, whatever you want to call it, Into Darkness wasn't fantastic.
No.
I watched them all again this summer.
Beyond was good.
Beyond was good.
Had motorcycles. And they all had motorcycles.
But again, think about Beyond for a second. It was all right. It's
a one-off. It doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah, and you weren't on you didn't have any of the classic Star Trek stuff. You weren't on the ship for very long.
No.
You did blow it up, which is fun.
Right.
But
that's what the third Star Trek movie is for.
Right, you got to blow something up.
Ship, which is why I said on that podcast where we talked about it, the 4th one has to have whales.
Exactly.
It needs to be whales.
And so, as much as I can sit here and say Beyond wasn't a great movie, it was good Star Trek. It told a message using a science fiction theme to maybe say something and beat you over the head with something that it couldn't do in a normal movie.
Yeah.
But you weren't on the ship, you weren't in space, you were just on a planet, so did it need to be Star Trek? I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
But it also brings that theory of Star Trek as a place to the forefront and says, look, you can tell any story in Star Trek, you just have to figure out how.
So R-rated Star Trek you're fine with? If they do decide to.
I'm fine with... Discovery sort of softened my reticence, I guess. I'm fine with anything they want to try now. I just don't want them to try too much all at once. Okay, Tarantino thing, that's awesome. Let's do that. Or the Patrick Stewart thing, let's do that.
What do you think the Patrick Stewart thing's going to be?
I'm hoping it's a Logan-esque story about Jean-Luc Picard. He's older now. He's doing something else. And God help me if they generations...
He finds out he has a daughter and he has to fight his own clone.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that
Well, wait a
scares
minute.
me.
Technically, he already did have to fight his own clone.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Well, that's true.
I just don't want him to end up like... I don't want him to Kirk himself out of a problem and end up back on the bridge of the starship necessarily in the same way that Kirk always does. I'm not sure how it works, but I'm looking for something more like that. Because unfortunately, the way Discovery was able to get away with being darker and different is you didn't have any preconceived notions about any of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I said this season's going to be huge, because they end, spoiler alert, it's up to you if you want to cover your ears, but where they end the first season, they're nose to nose with Christopher Pike's Enterprise. And I don't know what that means.
I've got to wait to find out.
I didn't hear a thing you just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
the good news is that doesn't tell you anything that happened in the whole season. It has nothing to do with itself.
Right. Okay.
But that was like the pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And Fade to Black is literally, they're like this far. I didn't even know it was safe to be that close.
Danger close.
Yeah, I mean,
Danger
we were
close.
talking like kissing cousins here. And now we're starting to meet people that we have preconceived notions about. They cast Spock for
I
season
saw
2.
that. Yeah.
I don't know. I could talk all day.
I know you could. That's
You
why
got
I asked
me
you the
geeked
question. I know. I want them to just mess with everybody, and your whole thing of they can tell any story they want within the Star Trek universe. I want it to be Jean-Luc Picard working on his vineyard in France as a romantic comedy.
Perfect.
It could be a romantic comedy within the Star Trek universe.
And that's the other thing. Like with Patrick Stewart on board, if he wants to do it,
He can do it.
you could do all of that.
We could do the Brady Bunch thing where he accidentally sets up a date with 2 women at the same time and has to keep beaming back and forth to the 2 different restaurants.
Only if one of them
One time he
is
accidentally...
on another planet.
You could do that.
That's
Totally fine.
the only way that works.
And then one time he accidentally beams Chief O'Brien instead of himself, and then there's a whole
Ooh,
thing.
that's good.
Or they accidentally meld each other together.
he has to get Chief O'Brien because he's the best transporter chief ever. He has to get Chief O'Brien to help him with the date. Lord knows Chief O'Brien shouldn't be helping anyone date,
So.
but you know.
Okay. All right. So anything they want to do with Star Trek, go for it.
Yeah, until they screw it up royally, which I'm sure they will eventually. But
Yeah.
At some point, maybe.
The thing, I guess, and it all comes back to who's making the decision that says, yes, you can put the Star Trek label on that project. That's the part I'm still hazy about.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Should we talk about a little pizza?
Yes.
Talk about a little pizza.
Okay.
A little
All right.
ish.
So this time around, we have come to talk about Mystic Pizza. It came out on the 21st of October, 1988. Rating is R, and runtime is 1 hour, 44 minutes. Director is Donald Petrie, who did Grumpy Old Men and Miss Congeniality. I don't think I said that right the first time.
You're so smart and funny. You're definitely going to win. Yes, I saw that movie. Yes, I liked that movie.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's a good movie.
That's fine. I made a comment the other day about liking The Notebook, and then I got a weird look from somebody. I was like, hey. Noah and Allie are a love story for the ages. Don't
Agreed.
criticize me here.
Don't
No,
judge.
no,
We do have a funny story related to the Notebook though. On a Black Friday, not like early in the morning, but on a Black Friday around about 11 o'clock or so, when people are starting to leave the stores, we walked into a Target one time, and this guy was walking out with 2 flat screen TVs. This was years ago. 2 flat screen TVs, one under each arm, and a copy of the Notebook. And so Sharon and I have always laughed about that. We're like, you know what he did? He went out the morning of Black Friday. He got himself 2 TVs, and he's like, she's going to be mad. I should bring her something. Bring her a copy of the Notebook on DVD. It's like, is that really going to... if you walk in with 2 TVs, is that really going to help? Maybe it depends on
Maybe if one is for
how
her
much
to
you
watch The Notebook 24/7,
how much you enjoy
maybe.
Nicholas Sparks, then...
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Is it worth 2 TVs? Producers are Mark Levinson, who did Teen Wolf and Home Alone, and Scott Rosenfeld, who also did Teen Home and Wolf Alone.
That is the mashup
Those are the new
of
movies.
Home Alone and Teen Wolf, which...
Teen Wolf is Home Alone.
If the Teen Wolf was trying to attack Kevin in the house, maybe, maybe you have a thing.
Yeah, basically it's a child he's home alone and he's being attacked by a werewolf. I would watch that movie.
Yeah, there you go.
And then writers were Amy Holden Jones, who did the story and screenplay. She also did Beethoven and Indecent Proposal, 2 very different movies. Don't match those up.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And then Perry Howells and Randy Howells also did the screenplay. They also did Made to Order and Chances Are. Alfred Urey also did the screenplay, did Driving Miss Daisy. Cinematography was done by Tim Surdstedt, who did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Idiocracy. Music was done by David McHugh, who also did Moscow on the Hudson and The Dream Team. Budget for this one was $6 million. Box office was $12.8 million. Annabeth Gish played Kat. She was in Wyatt Earp and Beautiful Girls. Julia Roberts played Daisy. She was in Pretty Woman, Erin Brockovich, and The Pelican Brief. Lily Taylor played JoJo. She was in Say Anything and Rudy. Vincent D'Onofrio played Bill, or as he is in the credits, Vincent Philip D'Onofrio played Bill.
Fancy.
He was fancy, a three-namer. He was in Full Metal Jacket and Men in Black. William R. Moses played Tim. He was in Perry Mason and Melrose Place. Adam Stork played Charlie. He was in Death Becomes Her and The Phantom of the Opera. Conchata Ferrell played Leona. There you go. Little fan of the opera over there. She was in Edward Scissorhands and Two and a Half Men. Joanna Merlin played Mrs. Arujo. She was in The Ten Commandments and Prince of Darkness. Portia Radcliffe played the little girl Phoebe. She was in Home Alone and Rent. Matt Damon played Steamer, the younger brother of Charlie. And he was in Good Will Hunting and The Martian.
Yeah, that guy. Never heard of him before.
Whatever, yeah. He might have done a couple of things here and there.
Steamer is just a funny nickname. I'm just going to say it right now.
Well, when you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And Louis Turenne played the Everyday Gourmet. He was in Hellraiser Bloodline and Babylon 5. So I've mixed up a little bit some of the ways that we do the kind of the ratings here. I found a website recently that I kind of like because, we try to do different ratings for the shows and try to get a mixture of different things because we don't want to rely just on Rotten Tomatoes or any of those. So I found one called Flick Metrics, which I kind of like. It takes, you got to say it very carefully. Was that the Celebrity Jeopardy?
Yeah.
That's Famous Flicks, Mr. Connery. Famous Flicks.
Hi, you Canadian punks.
Catherine Deneuve and Charo twice.
Yeah.
Famous Flicks, Mr. Connery.
Yes.
So they have, what they do is they collect a few different scores, and they do an average of those scores. So they do the tomato meter, and then they do the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes, then they do IMDb, then they do Letterboxd, which is that app that I tend to use for a lot of stuff, and then they do Metascore. So they have all these different scores, they average it out, and if you go to all those different scores and average them, then this movie gets a 63 out of 100, so 63% for this one. Scores a little bit higher on the critics' tomato meter, it's a 77% from Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
So this was a nominee for Young Artist Award, the Best Young Actress. I turned northern there for just a second.
Yeah.
Best Young Actress. Oh, don't you know? In a motion picture drama, it was Annabeth Gish and Julia Roberts were nominated for those. And the story of this one is 3 teenage girls come of age while working at a pizza parlor in the Connecticut town of Mystic.
Word one more time to me, I'm gonna scream.
Married.
Bill and JoJo are made for each other.
Joe, come on.
You can't force me to do something I'm not ready to do, Bill!
Daisy and Charlie are from 2 different worlds.
You're weird. I'm weird.
You want a soda or some juice?
Tim and Kat are throwing caution to the wind.
I'll have some wine.
Is there a history of insanity in the family, or?
They say it skips a generation.
But in a town like Mystic,
I'm not gonna be slinging pizza for the rest of my life.
The best pizza!
the only thing for certain is that nothing is predictable.
I'm telling you, Joe, that I love you. I think that when people love each other, they should make a commitment.
If he really loved me, he'd wait. But I guess if I really loved him, I'd marry him.
Sick. He's not Catholic. He's not Portuguese, not poor, he's not a lot of things.
He's not gonna marry you either, I'll tell you that.
Bring home your poor Portuguese girlfriend for dinner.
These Portuguese girls are very hard to train.
Shake up the family a little bit.
I guess dinner is over.
We talk, we read, we listen to Mozart sometimes.
Do you really believe this 30-year-old guy is gonna leave his wife and live happily ever after with you?
All I want you to do for me is give it to me.
Mystic Pizza. A romantic comedy with the works. Mystic Pizza.
In a word, superb.
All right, this was the debut theatrical feature film of actor-writer Matt Damon. It did take me a second. At first, I was like, is that Matt Damon? Yeah, it's Matt Damon.
Yeah. That was cool. I was like, hey, I didn't know that, and I'd seen it before.
Mystic Pizza is a real pizza parlor located at 55 West Main Street in Mystic, Connecticut. Writer Amy Holden Jones was vacationing in Mystic one summer, saw the pizza parlor, and was inspired to write the story. After the movie came out, the real Mystic Pizza shop became so popular lines would stretch to the sidewalk and patrons would regularly steal mementos from the restaurant. Good for them, but not cool that people are stealing things. This was also the breakthrough film role of American actress Julia Roberts. It was the third movie that she had been in up to this point. A sequel called Return to Mystic Pizza was in development in the early 90s with a script by Jenny Tripp and Albert Inurato. And Mrs. Arujo, I was going to mention this because this just happened within the last couple weeks, is asleep on the couch when the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous comes on the TV. The host of that show, Robin Leach, actually just passed away on August 24th.
He did. So, it was sad.
It was sad. Frankly, I maybe thought he was already dead. So I was like,
you know what?
Good for him that he got some extra time.
Yeah, we talked about it when it happened, and first thing I said was, if someone had asked, dead or alive, I would have been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I kind of thought he was already dead.
I mean, we hadn't heard from him in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that we say that, because I think as a culture, I think it's interesting that he faded away, as opposed to so many people these days who don't. Mm-hmm. They just ride out whatever popularity they can, and then that's it. He, for whatever reason, was done and was done.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Hopefully he enjoyed the last few years of his life.
Yeah. So let's start it off with, have you seen this one before?
Yes.
You've seen it? Okay. Had you seen it?
Not before this.
You had not seen it before this?
No.
Okay. And I had seen it before. So, we'll start with you, Pat. So, first time you'd seen it, overall, before we get into picking things apart and all that, what do you think overall?
Yeah, I don't like these kind of movies. But, in all seriousness...
Define these kind of movies for me.
Like...
Ones with emotion and compassion. and
emotion, compassion, dating movies, relationship movies,
humans.
Things like that. Humans. Not a big fan
people
of
with
humans.
imaginations.
I don't do humans.
Luck dragons.
I don't do people. Yeah, that was
Thank you.
That was Ace Ventura, right? I don't do humans.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It didn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right, but you're not wrong. No, okay, so that's my lead in. But you know what? And I said this to John. I mean, if I don't know if this is the correct term anymore, but in terms of like chick flicks or things that, you know, like I said to John, I said, I think I only had 2 movies that were chick flicks that I actually liked, and I think this one became the third. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought the characters were fun. I thought, you know, as much as I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you behaving like that? But that was the point of the movie. You know, that's like I was getting. I thought that the acting was fun. The characters were interesting. I felt good when the guy came and tried the pizza at the end, and then he talked about it being superb. I mean, I was sitting there smiling. I'm like, oh, cool, that's fun. And so I really enjoyed the movie. And I don't know if you're going to do a favorite scene or whatnot later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, then I'll keep that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, I know I was being a little silly when I first started talking, but no, I dug the movie. It was fun.
Because that's not typically your type of movie.
No, and that's what I was saying at the beginning before we got joking. It's yeah, I don't think I would have picked it out if we weren't watching it for the podcast, or unless like, and I don't want to stereotype and say, well, Tammy, she would, you know, but I mean, unless someone picked it out and said, hey, let's watch this, I don't necessarily think I'd be that into it.
Right.
And even growing up, like, as a guy, you know, was a 14, 15, 16-year-old, I don't think I would watch a story about relationships. Not to say there's anything wrong with it if you do, but as a kid, like when this was coming out, I probably would have been like, pass, that's not quite my bag.
Yeah.
But no, great movie. I really enjoyed it.
I would like to say the first time I watched this in high school was because I wanted to see a movie about relationships.
Were you dating someone at the time? Or?
No. I just wanted to see a movie with Julia Roberts in it.
Oh.
That was my reason for finding this movie. And,
good reason.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably when I first came to this movie was probably high school, it would be my guess. And I had a bit of a crush on Julia Roberts at the time, and so I watched, well, that's true. Probably watched Pretty Woman many, many, many times, along with some of her other movies, and Pelican Brief, and some of those others that she had been in. And
that brings back memories.
Yeah. So I was a big Julia Roberts fan there for a stretch of time, and still am. Like, I'll still go see her movies, still like her movies, but for a stretch of time, there was like I would seek out other movies of hers that I hadn't seen before, just because, and there could be a criticism of our podcast that it's a bunch of guys sitting around talking about movies. And,
But we are.
We are a bunch of guys sitting around talking about movies. And I don't want to just be the thing like, there was a pretty girl, so I went to go see the movie because there had a pretty girl in it. But she's also an amazing actress.
You were in high school.
And I was also in high school.
With that.
So,
I mean, come on.
Well, I'm over here talking about Monica Bellucci making my little heart go
well,
pat. Now I'm guilty. That's true. Yeah. All right.
Your heart's here.
That's wasn't I tapping that?
Okay,
yeah.
That's right. That's
yeah. No, I think you're entitled.
So yeah, no, I mean that's definitely the first reason that I came to this movie. But now having watched this movie, this was probably maybe the third or fourth time I had seen this movie. So I haven't watched it a lot, but I mean, more than some other movies I've seen. And I still enjoy the movie. Still, same thing. It had been a while since. Oh, actually, you know what? Sharon had not seen it. I feel like I thought we had seen it together at one point, but I guess not. And so she's like, "Well, I kind of feel like this would have been one that we would have watched because we really liked Pretty Woman." And then we really liked the movie Runaway Bride. It was her and Richard Gere. It was the next one after Pretty Woman, years later. Actually went to go see that the day that we got engaged. It was a movie that we saw, and then we went to go have dinner afterwards. And
you probably saw My Best Friend's Wedding together.
Yeah, and we saw that one together too. It was filmed
just around the
corner. Here around the corner. She had never seen this one before. So we're watching the movie, and it was almost the exact same conversation. It was why are you doing this? Don't do that. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. Why would you do? He's married. Just saying. He's married.
It was the 80s.
You know better.
You could get away with it.
I was like, really? And what a scumbag guy, man.
Did you just become our Jewish grandmother?
I did kind of.
Okay.
In honor of the upcoming high holidays, I thought we needed to inject some.
There you go.
I need some matzah.
Mazel tov. This is just going to turn into the food podcast.
Yeah, it kind of is. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Food, man. Sustained.
So, Bo, you've seen this one before.
Yeah. It was a favorite of my mother's, so it was kind of on a lot growing up. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen it, but I also know that I never saw it all the way through the first 3 or 4 times I saw the movie.
Okay.
It was always, Mom would have it on, and I'd be walking through or something, so I'd see bits and pieces. And then one day I was like, next time you're going to watch this movie, let me know, because I feel like at this point I have to see the beginning.
Right.
I'm missing a few things, and even to the point that the first 15 or 20 minutes felt a little alien to me watching it.
Yeah.
Because I've probably seen the first 15 or 20 minutes less than the whole rest of the movie. Like the whole wedding scene, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is it sets up how much of the rest of the movie, but I didn't remember the scene itself. Like, It was just one of those,
Exactly.
But yeah, it was cool to see again. It had been a while, and this isn't one I would probably seek out again. It's not that it's a bad movie. It's just not, there's enough.
It's not on your rotation.
We're living in a golden age of entertainment, gentlemen. Let's be honest here. There's so much to consume that going back is just not done as much as it used to be, I feel like.
No, I agree. And for me, I mean, again, I thought it was very good, but it isn't necessarily the kind of movie that I would go to. So if I was going to go back to this, well, to be honest, I mean, I asked Tammy, have you seen this movie? I think so. Maybe we should watch that sometime. So I'd probably go back and see that, and for that reason. So
yeah. Well, so kind of jumping into the movie a little bit, one of the things that I thought was interesting about it, especially given the time that the movie came out, I mean, we're talking 80s, we're talking late 80s at this point, but we're talking 80s. One of the things that I thought was interesting is what you get from the very beginning of the movie, and that is you have a relationship where the woman is the one who is wanting to either back out of or nervous about marriage, which I think is different from a lot of your other traditional movies like this, where it's typically the man who is the one who is, I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun, don't need to get married, don't need a commitment, don't need anything like that. Is this one of the earliest, if you think of all the movies you've ever seen with a situation like that, I know you said that typically these type of movies are not your favorite, is this one of the earliest examples of that you can think of? I mean, is this one of the first times we get a movie where you have those kind of roles reversed?
certainly the first I can think of. I'm sure it's not the first. I'm sure there were, if we really wanted to look at farces and all sorts of other, But the first possible, I don't want to call this a serious movie because that's the wrong way to... But the first non-farce, maybe, or the first mainstream version of that, it was definitely interesting to see that and realize that it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because you sort of look at it, you're like, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it could be. I'm trying to think of those role reversals and all that, but I don't think I saw enough of like relationship movies and all that growing up or even now that I can see that it's kind of reversed. I see up on the screen that you've got some of the reviews from whichever website is that.
This is one that I use. So a little plug here for Letterboxd. I use the Letterboxd app for a lot of different things and to kind of keep track of some stuff. And I have our list of all the movies we've ever done on our podcast is through this. So if anybody wants to check it out, it's Letterboxd, LETTERBOXD.com. And so I kind of find that a lot of the reviews on here are people who actually love movies. And so they're not just, this was stupid. Like, if they think it was a stupid movie, they'll give you some pretty good, I mean, I don't always agree with them, but they'll give you some pretty good reasons behind, it's people who love film, basically. It's not just the unwashed masses that are coming in and telling you that the movie's stupid because it's stupid.
You saying just because I don't wash my opinion doesn't count?
Yes.
Well, and I see this.
Your face is stupid.
It's just confirming.
And Tammy has brought this up to me. A couple times I'll be watching movies and just say, I'm not getting it. And she'll just say, have you ever considered that maybe the movie's just not made for you?
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's a good point. Okay. But it says here, the fact that it's not made for men. I'm seeing that kind of up there. So,
and I was gonna ask you guys about this. That I don't know that I feel that this movie is made for men.
I don't think it is.
So we are a podcast, as I said earlier. We're a podcast of all guys.
Right.
So what do we do with this movie?
Well, but then, and I don't want to go like too deep in this, but then suddenly I start talking like, and having a daughter and having a son, and it's things that I'll kind of just like. Daniela wants to play with action figures, or if Daniela wants to go, things that you would stereotypically say, oh, those are boy things, and I'll question various members of the family or extended family, just, well, you gotta go, well, why does she have to be into this? Who says, are those things really like girl things and boy things, or is that just what society says? So when I'm seeing that, like, okay, on face value, in my first review, I said, I don't know if this movie is really made for me, but then in the same token, it's like, well, why shouldn't I enjoy a movie just about relationships? I mean, it's from a female...
It may not be made for you, but it was made for a human.
Right, therefore, exactly. And I mean,
if it's well done, there's something that we can...
Right. And I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, I've got a very obviously, I've got a very narrow range of movies that I'm like, those are my movie,
Commando.
It's Commando. But I don't think it's necessarily for guys or for girls, and it's just like, well... I mean, I get what they're saying, but it's like, well, why shouldn't I sit down and enjoy a movie about, people trying to figure out relationships and such?
But I think what they're trying to say isn't necessarily that you shouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, if this didn't come up on the podcast list, you wouldn't have ever stumbled upon this movie.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have gone back to it over the years. In the same way, you mentioned the kids. In the same way your daughter might want to go see... I'm trying to think. But I'm not just going to throw out My Little Pony because I can. And your son probably might not.
Right.
But he might want to go see all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
A bad example because your daughter probably wants to see those too.
Right.
Zombieland 2.
There you go.
When he's older.
Something totally goofy.
Right.
Where your daughter's going to be like, no.
Teen Titans.
I'm above that and I'm okay with admitting it.
Yeah.
But where you and your boy might be like, yeah,
and it's time to go.
Yeah.
And
and I think that's more what they're saying here.
Yeah, but then once I watched it.
Oh, exactly. But how I mean, I can say that about 100 things. Once you sit me down in front of it, all of a sudden it's good.
It didn't seem to be like a guy bashing movie.
No.
I guess maybe that's my point.
I mean,
is that
Vincent D'Onofrio is kind of a dope, but that's whatever.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
he's probably the one like character that you do sympathize with more than anybody else.
Oh, sure.
They were all flawed characters.
Yeah.
That was kind of a nice thing.
Right.
It was, this movie about like people and relationships. It's good stuff. I should check it out.
Small little town,
Yeah.
So of the three relationships, which was the one that was most interesting to you? So you had JoJo and Bill. They were the ones that he wanted to get married. She didn't.
Mhm.
He was the one that was kind of the fisherman on the boat. You had Daisy and Charlie, and they were kind of, their relationship was a little bit more about rebellion. And Daisy was Julia Roberts' character, and Charlie was the wealthy young college. I guess he's not really a dropout if he got kicked out, but college refugee, we'll call him that. And then you had Kat and Tim, and that's kind of the older dad with the babysitter kind of thing.
Most interesting?
So which one was more interesting to you?
More fun to watch was Julia Roberts, because...
You don't have to actually finish that sentence.
Well, yeah. No, but I mean, she just... Because she played up... They played up the towny nature of her into the fact that, you know, she sees him talking to another girl and she flips out and pours crap in his car.
It was his
you know.
sister.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
That's funny.
Because in a small town, you probably wouldn't be out at a fancy dinner with your sister.
Yeah.
But in high society,
Yeah.
that's a normal occurrence.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why that was more fun for me anyway.
Yeah.
And Julia Roberts, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Come on.
What about you? Which one was more interesting of the three?
Why did you go first?
You still need some time to process?
Yeah. It all ticked me. Like, all of them were just like, no.
Yeah.
No. Why, you know, I mean, why don't you go first?
Okay. The one I think that was more interesting to me was Bill and JoJo. Was the let's get married, let's not get married kind of thing. And I think just because it was different. Like you, as we've already kind of mentioned, it's a different take on that relationship. And I think that you've seen other movies, like you said, the example of it's the towny situation. We've seen a bunch of other movies where that's the case. You know, somebody comes in, either it's a college person in a townie or whatever it might be. So we've seen that before. And not that wasn't a fun relationship to watch with their whole back and forth and all that going on. You know, now I know how to flag down a car if I ever get a flat.
Right.
So
That was cute.
I didn't know. Now I know. A lot of guys with their pants down in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Tim, the dad, was he an architect? Is that what he was? He was an architect. I think he was the only one that didn't end up with his pants down on camera.
Which is probably good, because any situation where his pants would be down would have been awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think probably
oddly the other ones weren't all that awkward. They were just funny.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most interesting relationship to watch because it was different enough, and it didn't have me. The one with Kat and Tim, the main character of the movie as the babysitter for the guy's little girl, that one was frustrating. Yep. Like that was the one where we kept talking back to the TV. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? At one point, like I think
go in there.
Louder than she meant to. My wife went, "Don't clutch that sweater. Don't clutch that sweater." She's like holding onto the sweater real tight after he'd given it to her, and she's like, "Don't you clutch that sweater."
Oh God! You know, I would love to have seen Cher do that because that's awesome.
So I think that one. I think that one in particular was just a little bit more interesting to watch and funny too. I think to me that was probably the funniest one. You know, they're in their parents' house.
Also the saddest.
And the saddest one too. And in the parents' house, there's the lit up statue of Jesus there, and he's like, I can't do this while he's watching.
Yeah, I know.
Then the parents come in.
As he gets kicked out the door. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. May I have another?
Which is why through the whole thing, he's still the nicest one.
Oh, totally.
Even though he's kind of a dopey one, he's still the nicest character of the whole movie.
Okay. That's why it's so sad. You're like, oh my God, lady, really? Mm-hmm. Like, look around you. Mm-hmm. Watch these other two stories that are happening and realize, yes, he's a dopey fisherman. Mm-hmm. But
I found it all just kind of believable. Like, as much as you'd be frustrated by it, it didn't seem a lot of, okay, that's a little bit forced.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it was contrived, but I mean, the situations and the emotions and the things that they were dealing with, yeah, I could see that happening. And I mean, I don't know about dumping fish into someone's car. Maybe that was a little bit much. But I could see someone getting upset and keying a car or doing, geez. So
and really, the fish, because they're a fishing town, it's sort of like a thing.
It's
It
classic,
just sort of works.
But I was struck by that, like just the reality, maybe the wrong word, but okay, this is believable. This is, kind of people just trying to get through their day to day, work through their lives, so.
So, do we have a favorite scene from this one?
Well, I think you mentioned really one of the best ones. I can't do this. The whole thing with the seeing of the guy with his sister, the fish going into the car, and then the realization afterwards, and the fact that if that happened today, now obviously you wouldn't be putting fish in the car in a movie today, but say you keyed the car. Most writers in a movie today would have spent the next at least 20 minutes, if not half an hour, with him avoiding her, not speaking to her, shunning her, or the other way around, whatever reason. They would have spent way too much time.
Possibly a musical montage.
Right. Just nonsense. And they looked at it and it's part of it's because he's rich and he just doesn't care. He's like, whatever, it's another car. But he was like, oh, okay, you thought I was... Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and be mad because you were jealous because you thought I was with another woman. I'm going to accept that you didn't realize it was my sister, and that's... We're not going to spend an hour on this. We'll spend about 10 minutes.
It's not 2 seasons of a CW show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I gotta say, it's a slight tangent, but I do have to say, after watching Smallville for years and years and years, and now watching the other superhero shows that are on CW, like when I watch The Flash or something like that, when there's an issue with somebody's relationship, it's like, it's solved that episode. I'm like, oh, thank you. Where were you guys when you had to go through like 4 seasons until somebody was finally like, you know what? This is what I should have told you. I'm like, 4 years. Come on.
I could have told you that 2 years ago.
Just like if you just don't lie to people, if somebody asks you a question, you give them an honest answer. You don't do this like, I'm going to look off into the distance.
Brooding. There must be brooding, especially on the CW.
Right.
Brooding is required.
Lots of brooding with popular music in the background.
Oh, yes. Yes. Popular music is
somehow major bands are showing up at our small town prom.
That's what I was just going to say. Popular music that doesn't necessarily belong in the scenario. Yes.
We magically got them to play our coffee shop in the middle of Kansas.
Right. Doesn't everybody?
Apparently. So do you have a favorite scene?
Yeah, the scene where they had Frank Sinatra singing "Fly Me to the Moon" with Basie and the Quincy Jones arrangement of, I think it was "Fly Me to the Moon," or "I've Got You Under My Skin." Not "Fly Me to the Moon." What am I saying? "I've Got You Under My Skin." And to be honest with you, I don't remember even what was happening in that scene. No, it was when he was coming in to eat the pizza, wasn't it? When the guy from that show was coming in to eat the pizza, and they were all, and I'm just like, I mean, it's no, well, who is not a Frank Sinatra fan? So I was just gonna say, but as I know Jeff totally is, Jeff Mazuka is, huge fan of Frank Sinatra, and that is such a great arrangement, and that came on, and it was just perfect for that scene. And I was just like, listening to the music, and it was like, I don't care even what's on screen, this is awesome. And I thought it just really tied the whole scene together, really enjoyed it.
I thought the music was fun in general.
Yeah.
Like it opened fun. The respect scene, speaking of recently departed.
Yeah, how cool was that? Yeah. How cool was that?
The only time the music took me out of it was not like the actual, not the like popular music, but the score. It took me out of the movie at the very last scene when they're all on that little like balcony type thing at the end. The way that and I don't know quite what instrument it was, but it was just like these very soft little doo-doo-doo, kind of like just very, it sounded like the music from Saturday Night Live when they would do the Deep Thoughts.
Yeah, that's going to take you out of pretty much anything.
And I'm sitting there, I was like,
Deep Thoughts.
Deep Thoughts.
By Jack Handy.
This one time, I took my nephew to Disney World. Instead, I drove him to a burned-out barn.
That's just the one I was thinking of.
Drove him to a burned-out barn. I was like, oh no, Disney World burnt down. I was going to take him to the real Disney World, but it was getting pretty late.
So I took him home instead. And I was just thinking of that deep thought,
there
too.
you go. So that's the only time music took me out of the movie was that moment at the very end when they're like, what do you think's in the pizza, and that whole thing is like,
anything that makes you think of that is going to take you out of pretty much anything, right? Really, because there's no coming back.
There is nothing.
There's no coming back from
There's
that.
nothing.
No.
There's nothing.
Favorite scene. I was trying to think of a favorite scene, and my favorite scene, as we've talked about, saying that maybe this is not a movie, quote, made for guys. But actually, my favorite scene in the movie is...
Well, that's what that person said.
That's what that person said.
I wasn't saying that.
That nasty person.
Well, no, I think they're maybe a nice person.
Oh, they might be a nice person.
I'm not calling it... I'm not...
Okay.
No negativity
no name
for
calling?
me.
No name
I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy. No name calling.
Okay.
Jerk.
Good.
It's good.
Did you call me a jerk, or did you call the other people a jerk?
Anybody. It's
Anybody's
like
a jerk.
if you get in the way. It's like those video games where you can hit the person that you're playing against and steal their lives. It's like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead with your favorite scene.
Anyway. Still trying to decide if you just called me a jerk or not.
I'm not calling you a jerk, man. I love you.
All right, okay.
Not this time, anyway.
Well, no, that's not to my face. Is the scene where right after JoJo has dumped Bill, and she goes into the pizza place, and she's just running around, and she's having the entire conversation herself.
Yeah.
And she's like, you guys are right. And everybody just staring at her. Like, nobody's interrupting. Nobody's saying a thing. She's like, and I broke it off, and he cried, and she's totally full of it. None of this happened. And then all of a sudden, like, she starts saying their part to the conversation, too. And she's like, I know, you guys are right. Like, nobody said anything. I really like that scene. I like she did... Of the people who were in the movie, I don't think of her as being one of the actors who went on to do, like, amazing things, like big movies. I think of Vincent D'Onofrio, I think of Julia Roberts, even Annabeth Gish to a certain extent, but I don't typically think of that actress as having gone on to do things other than maybe TV shows, and to do TV shows and independent movies and things like that. But in that one particular scene, I was like, wow, you got your own little mini tour de force going on here as you're eating up this scene. So I think for me that's probably my favorite scene in the movie, is just as she's doing that whole thing. The one scene that since I had a bit of a crush on Julia Roberts anyway, the one scene that just like you could freeze that particular scene and like, that kind of sums up one of the reasons that I liked Julia Roberts is the scene where they're all standing out there and she's like, you guys have got something going for you. And she's like, all I've got is this, and she points to her face and then holds up the beer. She's like, I've got this and this. It's like, you're just adorable.
I want to make you happy.
I would like to protect you, just from everything, from the world, and much the same way that we had the one character from the Blue Velvet movie. Felt the same way about. Kind of just wanted to protect her from everything.
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
Yes.
Oh, Laura Dern.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Dinosaurs just a few years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Well, do we have anything else we want to say about Mystic Pizza?
Just always remember, whenever someone says, I effed up, you can always come back with, yeah, but you gave it 100% effort.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good movie. Very good movie.
All right. So, final question.
Good to see you again.
Final question. What's your favorite kind of pizza? I gave you time to think.
You did.
You had an entire episode to think about it.
Favorite pizza is probably stuffed sausage and spinach with garlic.
Okay.
That is currently riding real high.
Okay.
Part of the problem is I can't get it right. There was a place that used to make it. They closed. And every time I try to copy it somewhere else, I fail. Okay. So I think part of the reason it's my favorite is because I can't have it.
It's the forbidden fruit. It's
the unattainable goal.
Yeah.
I will remake this pizza.
What did he call it in Gone 60? Unicorn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it unicorn? Is that what he kept calling the car? Or whatever the mystical beast?
Yeah. I think it was. But yes.
Yeah, so that's your...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, John?
I've had a lot of pizza in my life.
As we all.
I'd like to go have a lot of pizza later tonight. You know what? I think lately the one in particular that if I could just have any pizza I wanted, there's this one particular spot, and we benefit from living near Chicago, so we have the best pizza in the world. I don't care what anybody else says. We have the best pizza in the world. Took the kids into the city a couple weeks ago. Went to the Giordano's that's right there off of Millennium Park. Yep. Yes. But I think right now one of my favorites is there's a little place that's not too far from where we live called Silo. Yeah. And they have.
You ever had their taco pizza?
A long time ago,
So
and I do
good.
like it. My favorite is their seafood pizza, though. It's really,
Try
really
that.
good.
My wife's
The seafood
allergic,
pizza.
so I'll have to
It
do it on
actually,
my own.
it was actually featured, and I did not see this. I saw this written on their menu on that Chicago's Best
Oh,
show where
right
they do
on.
like the food
Sure.
critic kind of guy.
Cool.
Did I ever tell you Dennis and I? Did you see us when we showed
Yes.
up on that? Dennis and I
Yes.
were on the macaroni and cheese
Yes.
place. It's warm and inviting. I couldn't remember what all was in the pizza, so I looked it up on their menu really fast. It is their seafood pizza is a unique blend of snow crab, pollock, shrimp, and white clam sauce. And I might be driving past there.
It's the white
when we're
clam
done
sauce
tonight.
that I'm not sure I'm down with. Everything else sounded good.
It's really good.
Okay, I'll have to
really
try
good.
it sometime.
In fact, if the rest of the family is ordering the pizzas, and we're like, we're just going to get a bunch of big pizzas to share, I'd be like, okay, that's totally fine. You guys can get a bunch of big pizzas to share. I would like a personal pan of the seafood pizza. They're like, well, no, we're just getting to... No, you don't understand. You may get your pizzas to share. Does anyone else want seafood? And they're like, oh, shit, no. Okay, then you get your pizzas to share.
Yeah.
I will have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will drive separately. If you're not going to get it for me, I will drive separately and go get my own personal pan seafood pizza.
Right.
So,
Right.
all right. Well, if you would like to tell us what you like about Mystic Pizza or what you don't like, if you don't like the movie, that's totally fine too. We'd love to hear from you. So you can go to our podcast website at 30podcast.com. If you want to tell us what your favorite kind of pizza is, you can do that too. Tweet us at
Let us
30podcast.
know. We'll try 'em
Let us
all.
know. We could try them all. And
Try 'em
if
all.
it's got pineapple, I might skip it. No, I don't think I'm going to do the pineapple. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do anchovies either. I don't think I've ever had anchovies, but I just don't know. It just doesn't.
Anchovies in the right spot, guys.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll try anything once.
Buy that for a dollar.
So. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this time for Mystic Pizza. If you come on back next week, we are going to be talking about Heathers. We'll give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
Might blow up in our face, but we'll give it a shot.
Exactly.
Okay. Puns everywhere,
Yes.
all over the place. I saw something funny the other day. It was a meme that said, "I wish you cowards would stop saying no pun intended. Own your puns. Intend your puns." I was like, I think I will.
I think I'm going to
I think I will just intend my
today.
puns from now on. All right. Well, that's it for the 30-something movie podcast. We will see you back here for Heathers next time. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Okay. And be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies.